What is happening, everybody? Welcome to today's video. So now that the car is completely jammed out, so like the car door jams and then inside of all the parts is all done. Now all we have to do is basically block out the panels, like you see I started doing here, and then block out the body of the car. And then basically just clean this place out really good, tape the car up, and then we're gonna be painting the outside of the car, which is so sick. I'm pretty pumped for it. So it's pretty straightforward, but just like a lot of sanding. You could just like DA it and have it done in like a third of the time, no problem. But I don't know, I want this car to be pretty nice. The whole idea of doing it like, you know, down to bare metal, stripping it, doing everything like, I don't know, not the right way, because there is no like dead set right or wrong way. Going this far with it, I don't want to just DA sand it. I would rather just block it and then go over the DA just to smooth it back out. But basically the benefit of blocking it is if you missed any little waves or anything like that, you can see them, you can get rid of them with the primer, because I got like 3 or 4 good coats of like some pretty good high build primer on there. Also, I just kind of wanted to address something. I had a couple questions, which is fine, that's cool, in the last video about why I'm putting the car back together to paint it, because that's right, you would normally, you know, like a real whatever paint shop, like a good job would be blow the whole car apart, paint everything off, and then basically like bolt it all back together. You have no tape edges, no whatever seams, anything like that. And yeah, that's the right way to do it. But personally, I'm not super confident when it comes to painting, because I don't paint that much. I mainly just do like body work and then like the prep part of like primer and all that stuff. Basically everything up to the stage of paint. So I only basically paint my stuff and maybe like a side job or two like here or there for like friends of mine. So I'm not super confident that I could paint this whole thing all apart as far as like the body panels to the body go. So if you don't spray this in exactly the same like orientation and everything as the rest of the car, the door is gonna stand out like a sore thumb. Like it'll be like black and white, you'll notice it. So basically for me, the easiest way to eliminate that is just put the panels on the car, paint everything all at once. You won't see any like differentiation between like pattern, anything like that. Because even if I do it all in here with like the same gun, the same paint, the same everything, it could still be different depending on technique, especially with a metallic color like this. Even though it's a darker color, whatever, the lighter colors like a silver would be really difficult. It can be done though, I've seen it done. But yeah, basically for me, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna put the doors back on, the trunk, the hood, and paint the body of the car. Then I will do like the body kit, which yeah, that could not match as well, but there's really no way of doing a nice job of a car with the bumpers and handles and all that stuff in. So that's how I'm gonna do it. I mean, it's not technically the right way, but it's a lot better than seeing the car painted and then the doors don't match at all, because that looks terrible. So I'd rather have a little tiny paint edge all inside like the door jamb, which, you know, you only see when you open the door, than an entire panel not matching the rest of the car, because that'll look terrible. And then also like with the door, it'll always be like in this exact same light as like the quarter panel on the fender. So you'll always see a difference in color. Whereas like the bumpers, they don't really match, right? They kind of like bulge out and kind of go around, and they're just, you know, low and whatever. So that stuff you can get away with it. Plus it's fiberglass and plastic, which will never match metal parts. I don't care who you are, what you do, it won't match, because even from the factory, you can look at any car. The bumpers, the plastic bumpers are always different than the metal parts, and that's just how it is. Something with like the substrate, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but that's the way it is. So I'm not too concerned about like the body kit and stuff. That can be off a little bit. You probably won't even notice it, but I just like to be overcautious and basically do anything I can to eliminate anything like that. And then if it still messes up, then whatever. I did the best I can, and that's what I'm gonna do. Also, one more thing with painting the parts separately or painting them on the car. It's basically just me out here in the garage, like by myself, doing all this. So if the whole entire car was painted, like especially all up in here, was all painted, and like the front edge of the door was painted, it would be like really difficult for me to bolt them back on the car and not have any scratches or chips or fatalities like that. So it's just a lot easier for me to bolt them on and then paint them, so that way I'm not moving things around. I'll line them up, make the gaps nice, get them all set, and then I don't have to worry about it. I also had a question too about why did I mask off the like outside of the car if I'm still sanding it. It's like an okay question. Basically, so now you'll see all I have is this little edge. You can see right there. All I have is that little like 1/8 of an inch edge, like all the way around the panel to sand off. Whereas if I didn't cover the panel, it'd be covered in overspray, like obviously, right? Completely covered in overspray. And that's like 1 coat of black, 2 coats of purple, and then I think 2 coats of clear, 1 coat of clear. So like 4 coats of paint, like 4 layers of something on top of unsanded primer. Terrible idea, because then when you're sanding this, you have to make sure you get 100% of the purple or whatever color you're spraying off of that, because if you don't, the stuff underneath it isn't sanded and it'll peel. So then whatever you put on top of it is not gonna stick because it wasn't sanded underneath, even though you sanded that top layer. So it's just, in my mind, it's not a good idea to do that. I understand why you would say, hey, you're just gonna sand it anyways. Why would you do that? But that's why, because you have to be sure you get 100% of it off. And like, it's so much more sanding. You have to sand those 4 or 5 layers of paint off when really you could just be sanding the 2 or 3 layers of primer and not worry about it. So it took me like a couple hours to cover it up. It would have took way, way longer to go back and then have to sand all that off. That's why I did it like that. And I mean, you don't have to. You can technically go ahead and, you know, save the time, not tape it up, but then you're gonna spend way more time sanding it off. So that's just the way I do it. Like I said, there's no 100% right or wrong way of doing a lot of this stuff. It's basically just what works for you, what you know how to do, and as long as it looks good in the end, you can't really say much. Anyways, that was a lot of talking. So basically, I did this door, I blocked it all out with 220, and then went over with the DA with 400, and then now I'm gonna go back over it with 600 just to smooth that out. So basically, when you block, you're gonna leave really harsh straight lines with like an aggressive grit, but that's good because you want to like straighten the panel out, right? So you want an aggressive grit to like cut the actual primer. So you do that, and then, well, I'll show you, but you'll see the lines, and then you're gonna DA that, basically. Get rid of those lines, and then go an even finer grit. You could probably leave it in 400. I did 400 in the jams on the car, and after about a week of the pieces, like the parts sitting now, you can kind of see like some sand scratches. So on the outside, I'm gonna be sure that that doesn't happen, and I'm gonna finish it all on 600. Anyways, just gonna get to it and start sanding everything. Okay, so this door is now 100% done, ready for paint. You'll see this, which looks like it's an area not sanded, but it's actually sanded through to like a different layer of primer. I've seen a lot of different primers do this, and I honestly don't know why it does this. It looks like it's still like orange peel, like it needs to be sanded, but it's perfectly smooth. It's nice. So I've never had a problem with painting over it, so I'm sure it'll be fine. And basically the main thing is you want like the look of like the DA sander, kind of like sand marks in it, rather than like straight block marks, because that'll show up once you paint it. So yeah, this door's done. I'm just gonna throw it over there in the corner, get the next one out, and keep going. So this is actually the door, the driver's side door, that had all the bodywork done in here, and then down here, this was all caved in. There was something going like this, kind of. I can't really remember, it was a while ago. But I know I skimmed like a lot of this area, so I actually ended up putting 4 coats of primer on there. So we'll see what happens. I'm just gonna hit it with the block, and as soon as you start to sand it, you'll see your highs and lows, and we'll know pretty quickly what kind of shape we're in. So yeah, that's just a quick go over with it, and you can really start to see now a couple low spots, low areas, but nothing crazy. It's actually really not that bad. There's nothing like, you know, really low jumping out, except maybe this one little spot right here, but should be able to block that out no problem. But yeah, this is actually blocking out better than the other side, and I didn't do any body work to the other side. It's good. Just keep going until we get all the low spots gone, or until we start breaking through. And then if we start breaking through and it's still like a really low spot, I may have to do a little bit of reprime in certain areas, but judging by this, I don't think I'm gonna have to. Okay, so I got it all blocked out now. So if you look, you can see the scratches like going this way. So now what we're gonna do is go over that with 400 on the DA, and basically just get rid of those scratches. And then basically just keep going finer and finer until you don't really notice any scratches at all. So now you can see that it's got like the DA marks and not those really harsh straight lines. So basically you just go until you get rid of all those nasty hard lines, and then get it basically looking like this. And then I'm gonna switch to 600 just to smooth out now these 400 scratches a little bit, and then we'll be done. Just do a little bit of sand around the edges and put it over with the other door, and either grab the hood or the trunk. Keep moving. Okay, so I got the hood up here. I actually used 2 stands. So it's on the structure back here and then on the front edge over there. So the inside is basically not touching anything, just like it would be on the car. So it should be good to block it off. And yeah, we're gonna see what happens, because I seam sealed all the inside structure to this, because before when I was blocking the like epoxy primer, basically what I was ending up with was just like high spots everywhere, and that was little globs of glue basically holding the outer skin to the inner structure. So what I did was put it upside down, set it up so it was just kind of sitting there. It was just resting basically on like the edges. Nothing was in the center. And then I seam sealed the entire inner structure to the outer skin. That way, like, it shouldn't move at all. So hopefully when I go to block this out, it'll be nice and straight and not have those little high spots everywhere, or not have like the outline of the seam seal because of like each area in the structure that I glued to it. So I'm hoping it'll be okay. We're gonna find out right now and see how this goes. So it blocked out really good. It's nice and smooth, straight, no little bumps or dips or anything. So that's good. I was pretty worried about the inner structure kind of messing it up. So that makes me feel a lot better, because I did the same thing to the trunk. So hopefully the trunk's fine too. So all I gotta do now is go over with 400, then 600, throw it over there, get to the trunk. Okay, so the hood's done, both doors are done. I just started on the trunk and it's not looking good at all. So for some reason, gluing the inner to the outer made the top like incredibly wavy, whereas on the hood for some reason it's perfectly fine. So I'm really confused like why I did that, but yeah, it's a mess. It's like crazy all over the place, and you can like see the pattern of the inner structure. So I'm gonna have to reprime the trunk, which really sucks. Hopefully I can just put some like 120 on the block and really like straighten this out without like getting back into filler and stuff. But yeah, this really sucks. I'm pretty disappointed. I thought it would be fine, and I mean, obviously it's not, but I'm not sure why, because like I said, I did the same exact thing to the hood and it was fine. So I don't know. Anyways, this sucks. So I'm just gonna put some 120 on the block and knock this right down, and we'll have to reprime it. But hopefully this should be the only thing we have to reprime, so it's not a huge deal, I guess. This is pretty wild. I just blocked the whole thing out with 120. It got pretty straight. Like all this is like really good. You can see though like the outlines, and we got some bare metal here, but right in here for whatever reason it's still crazy wavy. Like basically like up to here and then that area, which is weird because I did a ton of body work back here and then nothing, but it's good back here at the very edge. It's just like from here to here. But if you look underneath, like directly in line with that, a ton of like structures and stuff. So that's what you're seeing, these outlines. So that sucks. So I'm gonna have to slick it with some filler again, and then block that out. Then sand the whole trunk, reprime the whole trunk, which really sucks. This is gonna put me a lot farther behind than I thought I was, because I'm supposed to just be able to block this out, put it with everything else, then start on the car. But now I have to fix this and prime it, then let it sit for a while. So then I'll sand the car, and then this will be like the last thing that I sand pretty much. The hood's fine. The hood was like perfectly smooth. I don't understand why just this did it. I was super careful how I like laid it upside down and stuff, but I don't know. I was really worried about it doing this, but I thought I had it covered and I thought it wouldn't, but ended up I was right again. I should just listen to myself, really. But whatever, so I'm gonna do that now. So way later, got it all sanded. See, I had to put a whole bunch in here and it's honestly still not perfect. I don't know. I've literally been messing around with this for like, I don't know, 2-3 hours now. So I'm just gonna say that's good enough. I can put 3 good coats of the black primer back over the whole thing now. And it should be good, but I gotta move a bunch of stuff around before I can do it. So I'm gonna do that now, I guess. Anyways, this sucks, but kind of fixed. It is the next day now. As you see, I had to do a little bit of body work, whole bunch of blocking. I think it should be okay now. I'm pretty sure like the problem that I had was I seam sealed the underside of the hood, and then I believe I stood it up like straight up and down. And then when I did the trunk, I just left it upside down the whole time. So I'm thinking that that is the problem. So then when I flip it around, it's like then pulling back down, whereas the hood was standing up, so it kind of relaxed where it's supposed to be. And this kind of just pulled itself, you know, into the structure because it was glued. So I think that was what happened. That was definitely just my fault. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna prime this. I'm gonna put 3 good coats on it so I can block it out again, and then it should be fine. I mean, it feels pretty decent now, kind of like it did before. I messed it up, but whatever. So I'm just gonna throw the car outside, just so I'm getting overspray on it, and then do this. Then gonna start blocking out the car, which is kind of exciting. All right, that's all primed now. You can kind of see, I mean, this primer is so thick, I actually ended up reducing it. It's just a 4:1, but I just reduced it like 4 to 1 to 1, and it laid out way nicer. So now you can kind of see, I don't know, looks like we should be good now. But we won't know until we actually go to block it. But now I'm gonna let that sit for basically like the whole week. I'm gonna just sand this last, let it sit as long as I can, and then get the whole car sanded. So like the quarters, the fenders, the roof, then go back to that, then put everything back on the car and start taping. So I think I'm just gonna wrap it up right there with that. This sucks. This took me way too long, and I really didn't expect to have to reprime it, but whatever, I guess. It's fixed now, it looks good, feels good. So it's actually, right now, it's the end of the week, so it's Thursday. Just got back from 2 days in Toronto, so I didn't touch the car at all. So tomorrow I'm gonna get on that, blocking it, and the car is in front of me. It's much further along than the video shows, but we'll leave that for the next video, because this one, basically I just wanted to explain. Some people were asking, or had some questions why I was doing things this way, like painting the jams first and putting the car together, why I taped it up the way I taped it up. That's cool, I don't mind answering. Like I said, there's no real 100% right or wrong way to do this stuff. you get the people that say that there is. As long as it looks good when it's done and you're happy with it, then I don't really see the issue. Unless you're doing the job for someone else and they're paying you to do it like this way, and then you skip all that and you do it this way, then that's an issue. But this, there's no problem. The only way that you're ever gonna be able to tell that I painted the jambs first, then put it together, is inside the door jambs. There'll be a little tiny edge, and it doesn't bother me personally. If it bothers you, I mean, I'm sorry about that, but not a big deal to me. So that's why I did it that way. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I appreciate you guys watching. And yeah, in the next video, we're gonna be putting the whole car back together, the whole car sanded, whole car, everything prepped in here, everything, and hopefully, fingers crossed, nothing else, you know, goes wrong. But hopefully we're gonna be painting the car in the next video. And they're also, yeah, they might be a little surprised with that, but whatever. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this one. And I guess we'll see you in the next one.